Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day one of Sing, the Toronto Vocal Arts Festival online. I'm Suba Shankaran.
And I'm Dylan Bell.
Sing's co-artistic directors. This year, Sing runs 6 days from September 29 through October 4th with free Sing Throwback concerts, brand new ticketed Sing Primetime concerts, and live interactive Zoom workshops. This is a brand new venture for all of us, and while we miss seeing you all in person, nothing can stop us from singing for you.
A few words on Sing safety. Sing takes the safety of our artists, our support staff, and our audience very seriously, and it was a difficult but necessary decision to take our entire festival online. Please remember when watching our Sing Throwback shows that these were filmed prior to this year. All new Sing Primetime programming was specially produced to meet and exceed distancing protocols. We'd also like to thank all our sponsors and granting bodies for making this festival possible.
We've got a great evening planned for you. Our primetime show at 8 p.m. EST is, well, us. We'll be doing the festival's only fully live-streamed event called Free Play Live. Using nothing but our voices and innovative live looping techniques, we'll take you from the concert halls of Europe to the jazz clubs of Manhattan to the temples of India, all without leaving your seat.
Tickets are still available. See below for details, and don't forget to buy an all-access pass to enjoy all primetime shows and live workshops at an amazing price. Our programming will remain online until October 18th, so if you miss a show, don't worry. You can watch it later, on demand, on our YouTube channel.
And now for our free Sing Throwback concert, Songs and Stories of Migration from 2019 at Hugh's Room Live. Musicians and storytellers share fascinating tales of migration while weaving words and a cappella music together, featuring storytellers Dan Yashinsky and Sage Tyrtle, and vocal groups Tapestry, Turkwaz, and Joanna Wallfisch, and hosted by Donna Dudinsky.
Happy watching!
Falhamos stilan Rumbalhach, rumbalhach Aptim peragitonia Rumbalhach, rumbalhach Aptim peragitonia.
Thanks, Michael. It's really wonderful to be here. I'm so excited about this concert. The melding of story and song. This is Sing Festival's 8th year. It's the first time they've invited storytellers to the stage, although we're all storytellers, we know that. We're having a melding of a storyteller and a group who probably, before last week, never met one another before. And it's interesting because it's combining something new with someone who's been here for a long time. Dan Yashinsky is the storyteller. And Dan is really the father of storytelling in Toronto. Toronto is a great storytelling city. And Dan Yashinsky, even though he doesn't look that old, he started 1001 Friday Nights of Storytelling, which has been going for over 40 years. He started the Toronto Storytelling Festival, which has been going for 40 years. He travels around the world telling stories. He's written books. He has a website. He is really a big hero to the Toronto storytelling community, and he champions other people. It's fabulous. So for as long as Dan has been around Toronto, this group Tapestry, what a perfect name for this concert, have been together for 1 month. 1 month. 4 young singer-songwriters who have come together and I hope we'll be seeing a lot more of them. Their names are Maya Danielson, Graham Coe, Zainab Wilson, and Jeremy Volz. Please come to the stage, Tapestry and Dan Yashinsky.
A long time ago, in a city in Afghanistan, there was a Shah. Shah Abbas was his name. And he loved stories. In fact, what he liked to do most of all was dress in disguise and go out at night listening to the stories that he heard. And one night, dressed in disguise as a dervish, he opened a secret door at the back of the palace and he walked into the night, past the courtyards and the gardens, past the cafes and the cook fires, and he could smell jasmine and lemon blossom and kebabs on the grills and camel dung, and he heard whispers and murmurs and laughter and tears and stories, 1,001 stories. And he walked all through the streets of the city, listening and listening, walking and listening, until finally he came to the very poorest part of town. And he started down a dark little street, an alleyway really. And coming from a house at the end of the street, the poorest house, came a song. And when the Shah heard it, he thought, how could such a song come from such a poor house? And he listened. Die da 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 die, die die da 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 die, die da 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 da. He was curious and he came up to the window of this little house and he looked inside. And when he looked inside, he saw a man sitting in front of a plate of lentils, eating a little meager meal and singing. Die, die, da, 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 die, die, da, 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 die. And Shah Abbas was so surprised by this, he knocked on the window and he said, "Is a stranger welcome here?" And the man inside stopped singing and he said, "A stranger's a gift from God. Come in, my friend, come in." He went in. And the man in the house said, "It's so good to see you. You're my guest. Sit and eat. Not much to eat, but please enjoy. Eat, eat, eat." You can tell it's a Jewish story. Eat, 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 eat. He says, "Eat." And Shah Abbas ate, and he ate. He was in disguise, and he said, "My friend, what do you do?" He said, "I'm a cobbler. I fix old shoes." "From this you make a living?" He said. "Well, enough for tonight's meal." And the Shah said, "But what about tomorrow?" And the little cobbler said, "God be blessed day by day." And the Shah thanked him for the meal, and he opened the door, and he walked away. The man said, "Come back any time. A stranger is a gift from God." And Shah Abbas walked away through the streets. He was walking back to the palace, and he was so puzzled by what he had just heard and what he had just seen. When he got back to the palace, he called the vizier, and he said, "There's a man living in the poorest part of town, and I want to put him to the test. I want to put his faith to the test. Tomorrow we have a new law. Nobody will be allowed to mend old shoes." The very next night, dressed in disguise, he opened a secret door at the back of the palace, and he walked into the night, past the gardens and the courtyards and the cafes and the cook fires and the kebabs and the jasmine and the lemon blossoms and the camel dung, and he walked past the whispers and the murmurs and the laughter and the tears till he came back to the poorest part of town. And sure enough, what did he hear? The song again. Die, da, 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 die, die, da, 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 die, die, da, 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 die, die, da, 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 die. He looked in the window. There was the cobbler sitting there, not as many lentils as the night before, eating. He knocked on the window and he said, "Is a stranger welcome here?" And the man inside the house said, "A stranger is a gift from God. Come in." And he went in. "Oh, thank you. Nice food." And they ate together. He said, "How was your day, my friend?" And the little cobbler said, "Oy, oy, oy. What a day. I went out to fix old shoes. Guess what? The crazy Shah has made a rule. No fixing shoes." And Shah Abbas said, "Aha, yeah. What did you do?" "I'm very clever," he said. "Guess what? I carried water for people. Everybody needs water. I carried water. I earned enough for today." And Shah Abbas said, "You earned enough for today?" "Yes, for today's meal. Please join. I'm so glad you're eating. Eat some more." "What about tomorrow?" And he said, "Well, God be blessed day by day." And Shah Abbas thanked him and left and went back through the streets of his city, back to the palace. Puzzled, confused. When he got back, he called the vizier and he said, "What's going on? I must put this man's faith to the test again. Tomorrow there is a new law. No more water carrying. That'll show him." That night, dressed in disguise as a dervish, he opened a secret door at the back of the palace, and he walked into the night. And he walked and he listened. And he walked and he listened until he came to that same poor part of town. And coming from the little house at the end of the street, he could hear. He was sitting happy, eating his little bit of lentils, and Shah Abbas knocked on the window and said, "Is a stranger welcome here?" And the little man inside said, "A stranger is a gift from God. Come in." He came in. "Eat, eat, eat." "Oh, thank you. How was your day?" "Oh, what a day. I go out to carry water. Guess what? It's against the law. What are people going to do to get their water around this? I think the Shah's gone crazy." "Don't tell him I said so." Shah Abbas was eating and says, "So what did you do?" He says, "Well, what did I do? Ask me what I did." "What did you do?" "I'll tell you," he says. I couldn't carry water. It's against the law. So I chopped firewood. Everybody needs firewood. I earned money. I chopped wood. Me, a cobbler, chopped wood. But I earned enough for today's meal." And Shah Abbas said, "For today's meal. For today's meal. What about tomorrow?" "God be blessed day by day." And he hurried back through the streets. past the camels, past the donkeys, past the kebabs, past the gardens and the courtyards and the cafes and the cooked fires, until he came back to the palace, and he came back through the secret door, and he came to the vizier and he said, "We must find out what's going on with this man. Tomorrow a new law. Whoever is caught chopping wood, becomes a soldier in my army." And the very next night, dressed in disguise as he opened the secret door at the back of the palace, and he entered into the night and into the city. And he walked, and he walked, and he listened, and he walked. Past the gardens and the courtyards and the cafes and the cook fires and the lemon blossoms and the jasmine and the grilling kebabs and the camel dung, and he walked past the whispers and the murmurs and the laughter and the tears and the stories, until he came to the poorest part of town. And there he could hear from down the block, from the small house there, the poorest of the poor. There he was, sitting at the table. Not as many lentils as the day before, but anyway, eating. Knocked on the window. "Is a stranger welcome here?" "Oh, a stranger is a gift from God. Come in." And in he went, and he ate, and they talked. And finally Shah Abbas said to him, "How was your day, my friend? It's been a whole day since I saw you." And the man said, "Look at me. I'm wearing the uniform of a guard in the Shah's army." And he was sitting there in a uniform with a sword and a scabbard. And Shah Abbas said, you're a soldier now." "I'm a soldier. I don't know from swords, but I'm a soldier. I'm a cobbler. I could fix your shoes, but now what am I going to do with a sword? But I'm a soldier now." And Shah Abbas said, "You are a soldier. You are a soldier. How did you get enough money to pay for today's meal?" And he said, "I'm a very clever soldier. Guess what I did? I sold my sword. I went to the blacksmith, what am I going to do with a sword? I know from shoes, not from swords. And then I made a wooden sword. Who will ever know?" And Shah Abbas said, "You are a soldier in the Shah's army, and you sold your weapon for lentils?" He said, "Yeah. So eat. Have yourself." And Shah Abbas looked at him and said, "But what if they find you tomorrow? What if they find out?" "Well, God be blessed, day by day." Shah Abbas thanked him for the meal, and he hurried home. Even faster. Hurried through the secret door. Came into the court. Called the vizier. And he looked at the vizier. Show me how he looked. Not with your faces. You will tomorrow summon all the troops in front of the palace. I will sit on my throne. You will bring a prisoner from the dungeon. You will make sure that that soldier chops off the prisoner's head. And the very next day, after a night of strange dreams, the troops marshaled in front of the palace, Shah Abbas on the throne at one end of the field, all the soldiers lined up, the captain of the guard had a prisoner by his shirt and threw the prisoner down in front of everybody and said, "This man will now have his head chopped off by one of you soldiers." And he walked up and down the ranks until he found the cobbler, water carrier, woodcutter, soldier. "Step forward, soldier." And he did. "Take out your sword and chop off this man's head." And the little soldier stepped forward. And he looked at the prisoner crying on the ground, and he looked at the captain, and there far across the field, the Shah on the throne. And the little soldier said, "Please, before I chop off this man's head, let me determine if he is guilty or innocent. For in my faith, it would be a terrible sin to take the life of an innocent man. But if he's guilty, I have no problem at all. Let me pray." And the captain looked at the Shah, and the Shah said, "Let him pray, let him pray." And this is his prayer. "God," he said, "please, if this man is guilty, give me the strength to chop off his worthless head. But if he is innocent, may the blade of my sword be turned to wood." And out came the wooden sword. People couldn't believe it. The captain looked at the Shah. The Shah said, "Let the prisoner go." The prisoner ran away. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And this was the feeling in the prisoner's heart as he ran. And running. And Shah Abbas came from the throne and walked across the field and came up to the little soldier, and he said, "Soldier, do you know who I am?" "Ah, you are the Shah, Shah Abbas, my lord, my ruler." And then Shah Abbas said, "Is a stranger welcome here?" And the little cobbler looked up into the eyes of his guest, and he said, "A stranger is a gift from God." And the Shah brought him back to the palace and made him his chief vizier. Whenever there was a hard problem to decide, the little cobbler would listen and say, "Well, may God be blessed day by day." And sometimes at night, if you were to walk past that palace, it is said that you would hear two voices singing together. Die, 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 die,
يا غزالي كيف سحت رفقا يا حبيبي قال لا كنت راعي الود يا ريم على الفلا قال من يهوى فلاش كل قلا قلت حسبي مدمعي قال سفوك يا غزالي كيف عني أبعدوك شتتوا شملي وهجري عودوك يا غزالا بالبهامة أجملا يا ترى في قتل ديمان حللك قلت لا أعشق إلا مبسمك علموك الهجر حتى أبعدوك يا غزالي كيف عني يبعدوك شتتوا شملي وهجري عودوك يا غزالي كيف عني يبعدوك شتتوا شملي وهجري عودوك.
Our next performer has a lot of travels in her past. She is the main person that Suba and Dylan, the artistic directors, wanted to perform. When they first started talking about this, they said, we have to bring Joanna Wallfisch into Toronto. We have to. And there's a reason for that. You'll find out. I mean, she's an amazing singer-songwriter. She's a multi-instrumentalist. And she didn't start out that way. She started out born to a family of professional musicians, all well-known, and she rebelled. I'm not doing that. So she studied painting and became a painter and went to Paris to paint and wound up singing jazz on the banks of the Seine and going to London and getting her master's in jazz. Then she moved to New York, she moved to LA, she's traveled around the world, played with famous musicians all over, and she's about to release a 5th CD, which is going to be called Far Away from Any Place Called Home. She sang it for us on the weekend at her workshop. I hope she sings it again. She's got a passion for education, social justice, and outreach work, which she's done in India with Songbound, and she's continuing that work in LA with the Urban Voices Project. Please welcome Joanna Wallfisch.
Dum 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 dum. I'm a runaway child. Buckle up shoes and button down shirt. Oh, I wanna run wild. I wanna scrape my knees and eat some dirt. I'm climbing out my window On a rope I made with my parents' sheets, just like cartoon people. I'm gonna make my home on the cartoon streets. Dum, 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 dum. I'm gonna steal a red car, skin a panther and wrap it round the wheel, remove the rearview mirror, put on my lipstick just by the way it feels, I'll roll down all the windows, forget my seatbelt, who needs one anyway, I'm going where the wind blows, I'm not a fugitive, I'm just a runaway. Dum, 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 dum. I'll ignore every road sign. X marks the spot if you're looking for the key. I'll trade this ride for more time and go on foot. Who cares when you're running free? Let go of all this baggage. Be weightless as a butterfly in spring, or a bird without a cage, or a perfect diamond without a ring. I'll go alone, I gotta tell you, I can't forget your smile. Do you wanna come with me, make this a road for two? Leave all your whys behind, forget what if, who knows or what will be. Just bring your restless heart and your open mind, climb out your window, run away with me. Oh, run away with me. Run away, run away, run away, run away, run away, run away, run away. Why don't you run away with me? Run away, 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 run away. Why don't you run away? 'Cause I'm a runaway child. 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 Run away, run away, run away child. Run away, run away, run away child. Run away, run away, runaway child. Buckle up shoes and button down shirt. Oh, I want to run wild. I want to scrape my knees and eat some dirt. Thank you.
And now it's my great pleasure to invite up to this stage Tapestry again. Yeah, and this time they will be telling the Sage Tyrtle. Now, Sage, you've heard Sage on NPR, on CBC Radio. She's performed around the world, most recently in India. Yeah, and she is just the kind of storyteller my teenage son loves. It's just, Mom, can you tell stories like her? Sage Tyrtle and Tapestry.
The next morning dawns bright and beautiful. The sky is a brilliant blue, and the ground is covered in snow. My son runs outside in a big circle, looking up at the sky, and he says, "Mama, I'm shining." And he is. A couple of months later, The people who own the land where the yurt is decide to sell it. And so we have no choice. We have to move into the nearby town. This town is not just smack dab in the middle of America, but smack dab in the middle of the Bible Belt. It has a population of 3,500 people. It covers 3.5 square miles, and there are 38 churches in that space. Because America. Like good hippies, we do not own a television set, so as we eat our soy milk and granola, we are listening to the best radio show ever produced. It's produced just down the street in this tiny town, and it sounds like this. Hi there. You are listening to Trading Post, where you can buy, sell, trade, or give away. What can I help you with today?
Hi there. My name is Deborah. I got me a goat. She's a real good milker, and I want to trade her for a 12-gauge shotgun or a food dehydrator.
I'm real sorry, Deborah. I'm going to have to cut you off. We have some breaking news. And I look at Todd, and Todd looks at me. I mean, we're pretty sure the rapture has just happened. They have never interrupted this show before. We're getting word that a plane has flown into a building in New York City. And I look at Todd, and he looks at me, and I'm like, those poor people. And I walk down the hall to the bathroom to get a washcloth to clean up our toddler. And I come back down the hall. And by the time I get back, this is what's happening on the radio. We are at war, America. We are at war.
Eat the elderly. Hide the babies.
We are at war. And I look at Todd, and Todd looks at me, and this time our eyes are filled with fear. Not of people on the other side of the Atlantic, but the people of this town who like to spend their Sundays listening to people behind pulpits saying things like,
If a man lieth with a man, he will be taken to hell in Jesus' own personal hell chariot. Amen.
we are afraid of the guy we saw last week buying 7 boxes of bullets. We are afraid of the young men of the town who, within an hour of this radio broadcast, have begun driving their pickup trucks as slowly as possible through the town, the sides and front plastered with giant American flags, which is scary on its own, but I think scarier is the idea that somewhere in this town there's a garage filled with giant American flags, just in case we are at war. As the 7th pickup truck idles past our very obviously belongs to hippies house, we have the Tibetan prayer flags and the naked toddler, we have it all. We have to see some human beings. So we go to the only place in this tiny American town on this awful night that is open. Please shout out if you think you know what it is. The bar. Bar was really close, but it was Walmart. Walmart is the only place in this town. The church locked up tight, but the Walmart is open. The parking lot is mostly empty. We go inside. Somebody has taken every single television set from the TV section and put them at the head of every single aisle and turned up the volume as high as it will go. So all we can hear are tinny screams, and all we can see is that plane crashing into the building over and over again. And for the very first and very last time in my life, I wish desperately that what I was hearing instead was,
she thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on.
because Kenny Chesney is usually what's playing when I am standing in Walmart looking at the aisles. And then I hear from the far end of the all-pink girls' toy aisle, my whacked-out hippie friend Silver, and she's calling my name. She has her little girl, and we have our little boy, and she runs, and we hold each other. And she says, let's get in my Subaru and drive north. Canada, can't you see it? And in that moment, I can. Driving through the night, playing, free to be you and me, to keep the kids happy and ourselves awake, tiptoeing through the forest, past the border guards, taking night classes in Canadian English. Hey, buddy, let's go to the Timmy's and get a double-double, so we can pass for one of you. But more rational minds prevail. It takes 3 years to wend our way to Canada. And when I tell a room full of Canadians that Toronto is exactly the socialist utopian paradise I knew it was going to be, when I ran home after school and turned on my little black and white TV and heard,
Wake up in the morning, gotta shake the feeling. I gotta face the day at school. What's to be afraid of? I can ask the questions and maybe even bend the rules.
and I knew that one day I was going to live in that magical city. I was going to see Degrassi Junior High. I was going to open my eyes, and here would be Wheels, and here would be Joey, and I would be a Canadian. When I tell a room full of Canadians that, you always think I'm being ironic, but I'm not. On August 3rd, I stood in a room with 100 other brand new citizens, and I took my oath of citizenship, and then everybody but me sang "Oh Canada" because I was crying too hard. And I wonder if one day my son, who is here tonight and so smart, so funny, so interesting, I wonder if he will be walking down the street in Toronto and a young kid will come up to him and say, "Hey, what was America like before 9/11? And he'll say,
We all lived in the woods. We all lived in the woods, and we were all shining."
Thanks so much.
His body moved like a restless breeze. They could hear him through the floor. His skin was hot against the cold white sheets. He couldn't sleep no more. It was 4 a.m. past the witching hour. Shadows fell against the wall. From the neon light at the all-night diner, and the rain began to fall. Far away from any place called home. Far away from any place called home. 3 days south on the ocean road, he had walked 100 miles. In the summer heat on the sleepless streets, he'd rest a little while. She saw him there, just a silhouette. He was talking to the wind. His hair was dry, his feet were wet, and there were diamonds on his skin. He was far away from any place called home. 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 She crossed the street where his shadow fell, picked it up, gave it to him. An ageless face on a nameless man who was simply walking. Between the ground and the open sky, she asked where he was from. In a breath, he told her all he knew. In the next, he was gone. Far away from any place called home. Far away from any place called home. Far away from any place called home. Far away, far away, far away. Now in the twilight hour, in her quiet room, in her mind, she spoke to him. He could hear her voice on the ocean road, like the sea was whispering. His body moved like a restless breeze passing through an empty space. He went to sleep on a city beach with the moonlight on his face, far away from any place called home. Far away from any place called home. Far away from home.
Thank you.
Music brings us together, even when we're apart. That's why we support Canadian musicians, festivals, and award shows. It's just one of the ways TD's Ready commitment helps build a more inclusive tomorrow.
We're Nukrik. We're going to be sharing some throat singing for you. For those of you who don't know, it's a women's style of, Inuit women's style of music, and it's a competition. So we're starting off with a sound, and Kendra is going to be the leader. I'm going to follow. She's going to dictate where the song's going to go, and I'm going to try and keep up with her. So we'll see who laughs first. Up. I think maybe I was the one that laughed first on that one.
ba